Hi guys, it's me Adrian. I thought I would upload another full playthrough of my ROM hack, Alex Kidd in Miracle World Extended Edition, version 1.3 final, with the only difference being I'm going to commentate over the entire gameplay. So I'm going to talk and discuss the making of this hack and what led me to make a ROM hack and what were the incidents and things that led up to it. I've got an interesting story to tell that I think you guys might be interested in hearing. It's kind of, think of it like a special features, like the making of a documentary. So I'll turn the audio up a bit so you can still hear the game a bit. So I'm going to do my best and talk. I'll just make sure this is recording. Yep. So I've got an interesting story to tell about the making of this ROM hack and how it came to be. So if you want to stick around and watch it and listen, well, that's good. Shall I start? Okay, well, it's me, Adrian. Just your average YouTuber. I'm nobody special. I don't claim to be anybody special. I have no real experience in ROM hacking besides this game. It wasn't a case of hang on, can I get over there? Yeah. It wasn't a case of me just waking up one morning and deciding, I'm going to hack Alex Kidd in Miracle World today. No, it was nothing like that. It all started one day in, I think, it must have been April or May 2021. Somewhere around there. So it was a few months before I released this hack originally in 2021, because I originally released this hack in 2021 prior builds. So there's this video by Nostalgia Nerd. Now if you don't know who Nostalgia Nerd is, he's this content creator from the UK who reviews tech and video games and stuff. He looks a bit like Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. You know, he's got glasses, he's got a moustache and a beard. A well-spoken bloke. He did this review once on Alex Kidd in Miracle World 2, the fan game from 2016. And he showed that he had a physical copy of the game in the video. He showed it running on a Master System console. So it was interesting to watch. But in the video, somewhere in the video, he expressed the fact that he was having trouble trying to get through the game. And probably most people, I can't see too many people finding that game difficult, because I think the sequel is easier than the original. But anyway, that's besides the point. He said that he was having trouble getting through the game, and he was going through a list of ways that you could make the game like easier to get through. He was giving off hints, and so it was really interesting. Well, what really caught my attention was one of the ways listed to get through the game easy was he actually said in the video, he said what he does is he downloads the editor that was made to make Alex Kidd in Miracle World 2 and this hack, and most Alex Kidd hacks are all done with the same editor, the Kidd editor by Calindro. He said he would download that and increase the life count, so he wouldn't have so much trouble trying to get through the game. And I thought to myself, oh, that's interesting. And I was quite surprised in a way, because there's not many people that would actually tell you to, you know, hack over somebody else's game, even though I don't think he meant anything bad by it. It was just a means of getting through the game easier. And I suppose if you know how to use the editor, you could do that. So I kept that thought in the back of my mind. You know, even though Alex Kidd in Miracle World 2 is not a game that is overly difficult, in my opinion, I could get through it really easy. There's no Jenkin matches, no rock, scissors, paper, or anything like that. So, you know, but that's just my opinion. I guess everybody's different. Some people are going to find even the most easiest games difficult. So, then what happened after that? Must have been a week or so later, I started playing an Alex Kidd ROM hack, a different one. It wasn't Alex Kidd in Miracle World 2, it was a ROM hack called Alex Kidd in Redian Rumble. It was made by somebody, I'm going to have trouble pronouncing this name. Is it pronounced Alianga or Alianga? I don't know how to pronounce that name of the author of the ROM hack of Redian Rumble. I think it's pronounced Alianga, but I'm not sure. I have looked up the name, and it is commonly used as a nickname for girls that have the name Alison. You know, they have Ali for short, and then they just put Ali Anga on the end. And anyway, so I started playing this other ROM hack called Redian Rumble. You can find it on SMS Power. It's easy to find. It's there in the hacks page, you know. And I started playing it, and oh my god, was that a difficult game to play? It was just dick move after dick move after dick move. It's like, I had so much trouble with it because it's like, it's a tedious hack. It's like it's just full of puzzles, and you know, you got to step on a block to introduce a platform to get across, and you know, it was just riddled with that, and it just got really, really hard halfway through. And I was really struggling with it. And then I remembered what Nostalgia Nerd said in his video about downloading the editor to give yourself more lives to make it easier to get through. So I went ahead and downloaded the editor for the very first time. And I did exactly what he did. I increased the life count for Redian Rumble and made it easier to get continues. Instead of, you know, having 5 or 3 lives or whatever, you know, I could have like 50 or 20 or 30 or whatever I wanted. And that's what I did, and I found that I was getting through the game a lot easier. Even though it's not the hacker's intention, the author's intention to do that, I just went ahead and did that, you know, but I kept it to myself. I've never released it, you know, a leaked version like that to the public. I wouldn't do that. I haven't even released a playthrough of this Redian Rumble that I've gone ahead and butchered. It's just something I've kept to myself. But I'm telling you this is because it was leading up to the events that made this hack. Just give me a sec. So I gave myself more lives. I made the hack easier to get through. But I came to this stage in the game where it was trying to think. The Nibbana Castle, you know, the one where the king is sitting on the throne and he gives you the slab. And if you don't free your brother from the castle a few stages earlier, then he just sends a ghost to see you out the door. Anyway, it was that stage. Well, that stage in Redian Rumble is made into a full-fledged, platforming level, and I was amazed at it. And I was playing it, and I was just overwhelmed by how many puzzles there was in it. It was just ridiculous. I thought the level layouts were really, really bad. I mean, it's just, I personally don't like video games that difficult. It was really, really difficult. It was like you had to step on a block to get through, to unlock a platform, to get you across, a bed of spikes. And I actually remember there was a part in the hack where there was like literally no way to go forward. It was just, the floor was full of spikes. So there was no way you could get across. Except you had to punch this, one of those purple blocks with the fish on it, and it would open this platform to allow you to get across the spikes. And what happened was the game crashed. Every time you'd get to that far and you'd open the puzzle, the game actually crashed. I remember every time I got there, you'd get a black screen. So I don't know what it was. Something was wrong with the puzzle. Something that was overlooked, that was never found. But the game crashed, and it crashed every time I got there. So what I did next was I started fiddling with the editor again. I started to learn how to place objects where I wanted, how to change the level layouts, and you can see where I'm going with this. So I started doing that with Redian Rumble yet again. I wasn't happy with all the dick moves and all the puzzles that made it just tedious to get through, and I ended up removing a lot of them, and I did that, and I actually removed the puzzle in the Nibbana Castle that caused the glitch, the crash. Once I removed that puzzle, I was able to get past the stage, and I actually got really far in it, and I think I ended up finishing it. And I didn't just change level layouts of that stage. I did it to a lot of the other stages, like the Janken Castle. So yeah, I really hacked it and changed a lot of things, and it ended up being a completely different game, pretty much. Like, it was still Redian Rumble, but I couldn't stop fiddling with the editor. I kept making changes and changes. And I even changed the text, I changed the story. I was just obsessed with it, because it was all new to me. Hang on, I've got to get this fish. So, yeah, I was fiddling with it. I made it easier. So by this time, the original version of the game was completely butchered. And yeah, I just made it so different. But I was happy with what I did to it, because I could get through it. I even changed some of the music in it. And you can see where I'm going with this. It just got to a point where I put down the controller and I said, hey, I'm not gonna I don't have to keep butchering this hack. I can start from scratch and make my own. And that's what I did. And that's where this game came in. That's, you know, I had this idea that I thought, well, I don't know how to do anything, you know, extensive. I don't know how to import different art or, you know, fiddle around with the sprite to try and, you know, make Alex look different or improved. I only knew how to, the basic tools of the editor, you know, the name change tables and the music editing, the sprite editing, the level layout editing, how to change the color palette. Those things is what I learnt how to do, and so I just stuck to that. And I had this idea that I wanted to make the levels longer. I thought, why don't I just try and make the levels longer and see where I can go with that idea. And that's what I did. And I guess I started hacking this ROM hack, you know, back in 2021. It must have been around June, maybe late June, early July. It took me a month to put together this hack. Versions 1.0, the original one. Took 4 months. And I'm trying to tell you the story, guys. I'm sorry if I'm you know, getting stumped in my words. It's not easy to, you know, try and concentrate on playing the game and telling a story at the same time. So just bear with me. So what was I saying? Yeah, so it took me a month to put this together after I finally stopped fiddling with Reduction Rumble. And every day I'd just get home from work and I'd open up the editor and I'd just, you know, start changing things, and I'd work on one stage at a time. So that's what I did. And it was such a horrible time back then in 2021. I mean, I'm gonna have to tell you, you know, the events, what was going on around the time, you know, the outside world. It was dreadful. I mean, COVID-19, the harsh lockdowns that we had to go through. I mean, at the end of June, where I live here, we were put into a very harsh lockdown, a very severe one, where it went for almost 4 months without being able to literally go outside. So I started hacking this, it would have been either late June 2021 or early July 2021. We were just put into lockdown at that point. And it was such a depressing time. Like I said, you couldn't go out anywhere. I mean, they were literally trying to close all the factories and all the businesses down, just trying to stop us from going to work. And you had to have these stupid, what were they called? They were like, you had to get them from the government. They're like passes, so you had a pass to go to work. So if the police stopped you, you know, you could show them that you had a pass to go to work, a work pass. And it was just overkill. I mean, it was like we had the army deployed, you know, so they were there to stop us from going outside. They were trying to keep us locked up inside like a can of sardines. It was just really bad. And I was lucky that I was still able to go to work at the time. I had something from my boss at the time that he said, you know, if anyone stops you, you just show them this. You know, because we had people within our government who were trying to keep the industry alive. And so I had this note that my boss gave me that he said, you know, it's from the government. He said, if the police stops you, you just show them this so you can come to work. And so I was right there. I was lucky I was able to go to work. But, you know, what else was going on was my wife was pregnant with my son in 2021, and she was due to give birth to him, you know, anywhere around that time. And so you could imagine how bad it was out there. Like, I had to get a PCR test every single day. So every time I got out from work, I had to literally go and get a PCR test after work, just so I could drive my wife to the hospital in case, you know, she had to give birth. She was ready to go into labour and give birth. And, you know, if I didn't get the PCR test, I couldn't take her to the hospital. That's how bad it was. And so, while I was waiting for, you know, for my son to be born, which, you know, he was born in early September. But, you know, you just don't quite know when it's getting close to that time. And so I just come home from work every day. I get the PCR test. I come home and I'd start, you know, hacking each stage one stage at a time. So I started with the first stage, and then, you know, I did the second stage, and, you know, I just kept going like that. I didn't make every single level really long in this game. I decided to leave a few untouched, but I just changed the colours and the music. The reason why not every level is extended, most of them are, but there's about 5 or 6 that I left alone. It's because I was making the ROM really, really large, and the editor from time to time, it keeps prompting you, you know, oh, would you like to increase the size to 1 megabyte? You know, it was already at 512k, you know, 2 megabits. That's how large it was. And it was already prompting me to increase the size, you know, because sometimes when I would port music from other Master System games, that message box would keep appearing saying, oh, this music track you've ported is too large, you need to increase the ROM size to 1 megabyte. So every time that happened, I'd put the music track back and import something else, or just leave it entirely. So that's another reason why not every single stage has its own music track. You know, some I had to just leave it. It's to do with ROM size, guys. Let's see if I can do this. This is a tricky puzzle. I did it in the last play. Ah, got it. Yep, that's how you do it. Little puzzle there for you if you want to do it. So yeah, where was I up to in this story? So yeah, not every single level is changed, like extended. It was to do with the ROM size. I didn't want to increase it to 1 megabyte because if I made it any bigger, chances are it would still play on most devices, Oh, I fell. So yeah, it would play on most consoles and most emulators, but I've heard that 1 megabyte size ROMs don't always play on an original Sega Master System console, and for that reason I decided no, I want to keep it at 512k. So that's what I did. I didn't want to make it any bigger, so I had to leave some stages untouched just in case, and I didn't want to port too many music tracks over, especially with long loops. The tracks that had long loops was a big no-no because it means more memory. So yeah, I had this idea. I thought I'll just try and extend the levels. And the first stage is actually the longest. So if you know this game by now, you'll know that that stage is really long, and I decided I wasn't going to make the others quite that long. That was just the first level. I thought, you know, just to take advantage of it, I thought I'd do it that way. And then you get to the second level and the third level, and they start to get a little bit shorter and shorter till you get here to the cave. Then it gets really long again. And, you know, all this stuff was easy to do. You know, the level layouts and the problem, the most hardest thing that I had trouble with, like I even changed the text there, the text windows, like it says I'm Chokina the Sly, it would normally say I'm Scissorhead or Scissors Head. I thought that sounds a bit lame, why don't I just put their real names in? So that's what I did, and I changed the Jenkin music here. I thought I'll put some Master System beatboxing in. So I thought, what can I do? Well, where am I going to get some beatboxing music from? So I thought, Ninja Gaiden, the game Ninja Gaiden on the Master System, the continue screen. Yeah, that would be perfect. So that's what I did. I put that in here. I thought, why don't we have them duking it out, dancing to that? And I love that beatboxing Master System sound. It's like music to my ears. I love it. Listen to it beatbox all day. And a lot of the other music is well, not. See, a lot of people when they check out this ROM hack, the first thing they say is, "Oh, you've got all the music from Lemmings." And I'm like, no, I didn't port everything from Lemmings. I only, you know, ported a few songs over. I didn't port the whole soundtrack. Like this is playing another Lemmings song, but I didn't port the entire thing over. I'm a big fan of Lemmings on the Master System, so naturally I wanted to use a few songs, a few tracks, and I thought, well, the main theme there, that this hack opens with, I thought, why don't I use, track 3? Yeah? Okay, hang on. Just hang on. Just bear with me, I'm recording something. Hang on, honey, I'm recording. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so I thought, why don't I use the track 3 from Lemmings, the track that plays on the 3rd level of every mode. I thought that would be a great, main theme for my hack. So that's what I did. I thought that just sounded right, so I put it in there. And then I thought for the underwater music, I thought I'd use the music from Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. Everybody loves that soundtrack, so I thought I would port that over, so I ported that over. That worked out well. I ported a few other tracks here from other Master System games. I had this idea in my head that I wanted to have the soundtrack half Japanese beatboxing style and half Western European Master System music. So it's kind of a mix. So you hear, like, you know, all the Japanese stuff, like you can hear here. This is a Japanese track. And then you got the Matt Furnace stuff. Ooh. Yeah, so it was a combination of Japanese Master System music and Western Master System music. You know, that arpeggio, sawtooth wave. You know, Western, you know, European Master System music against the Japanese beatboxing stuff here. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the real early Master System music, you know, from the real early games that have the really terrible box art covers. You know, the real early sound, like, I don't know, for example, Afterburner and all that stuff. Fantasy Zone, and you know, it's got that sort of sound in it. I'm not a big fan of the early Master System sound, except for a select few soundtracks like Alex Kidd in Miracle World, Wonder Boy, Outrun, Ghost House. They're the ones that come to mind. Aztec Adventure is another really good one, and Alex Kidd the Lost Stars. Aside from those, I'm not really keen on the other stuff until you get to around late 1988 onwards, when Sega started using they started updating their driver, the sound driver, and you started hearing, you know, the 3-pitch noise like Shinobi and Thunderblade. They're really early examples of what I'm talking about. And then, you know, Double Dragon followed, and Rambo 3. And, yeah, and then the sound driver just got better. You know, what other games was there? Outrun 3D, Psycho Fox, many of the sport titles, Summer Games, World Games, California Games, Parlor Games, Casino Games, Basketball Nightmare. They all had that second sound driver. Anyway, I suppose I should talk more about this hack instead of getting off topic. For the castle levels, I didn't change the layouts much, especially with this one. I practically left it the same. I didn't want to change too much when it came to this castle level, because I thought a lot of people already find this challenging enough in the original games. I thought I'll just ease up a bit with the castles. All I did was change the music. I didn't even change the colours. So, I mostly wanted to concentrate on changing the level layouts of the really short levels. You know how after this castle in the original game, you come to about 3 or 4 really short levels in the original game. Well, they're the ones that I primarily had in mind that I wanted to extend. make longer level layouts and that. So that's what I did. But the castles, I didn't want to fiddle around with the castles too much. The Janken castle, I made a few more changes, but nothing substantial. There's not like, you're not going to come to a room full of, you know, dick moves with lots of puzzles and spikes on the ceiling, spikes on the floor, where there's only so few spots where you can stand. There's nothing like that. And so, yeah, what else can I say about this hack? It all came about because the editor was just so easy to use. It was so easy and friendly to use. It was great, you know. I mean, here I am. I'm somebody that knows nothing about hacking games other than, you know, changing a few ROM headers and a bit of text here and there if it's not encrypted. And I was able to, you know, make practically a new game out of it. Because the editor was so easy to use. I mean, you guys can use it if you download it and you start fiddling with it. You know, you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. So I released this hack originally in 2021. I think it was the 31st of July 2021. That's when I released it. And I was really excited, hyped up about it. I thought, oh, you know, I was hoping it was going to get a lot of recognition. I put it up on SMS Power. I put it in the, you know, discussion forums. Because I didn't know where else to put it other than, you know, make a YouTube video like this and have a download link, direct download link to a file sharing site. What else could I do? You know, and I didn't really get much help from anybody. And then I put it up on the forum, and after a few days it didn't get much feedback, so it's sort of just virtually no one uploaded any playthroughs of it on YouTube. It was just me and one other person. So I just let it go, didn't worry about it, and 3 years passed, and then, you know, I recently met a good online buddy, fellow Aussie, called Josh. He made a ROM hack recently of Lemmings on the Mega Drive, and I asked him if I could help with that, and he let me help with that, and then, you know, we got to become, you know, good mates. And he found out about this ROM hack, and he went to give it a go a couple of months ago, and he uploaded a playthrough on his YouTube channel, and he got stuck in the cave because I wasn't aware of it at the time, but there was a lot of, you know, transparent walls where there should have been solid walls. So when you would die and respawn, you'd respawn trapped in this, you know, transparent wall. And then a few more weeks passed, and then Josh came to me one day and he said, oh, if you would let me, you know, fix up, you know, the bugs in your ROM hack, you know, I'd be happy to do it. So I let him do it. Oh, you know, I've got no problems with that. If he wants to improve it, make it better, I'm not going to say no. And so that's what Josh did. Josh really gave this game a new coat of paint. That's what it's like, you know. It's great. I mean, I'm looking at the borders. You can see how, you know, you got the pink matching the skyline. It wasn't like that in my original version 1.0 and version 1.1. You know, this is all down to Josh. He just did the things that I never got around to doing, or I couldn't work out how to do. And you know, he fixed up the overscan, you know, border colors there so it matches the sky of the stage. And I just realised something, you know, this is playing the Psycho Fox music from the Skull Land, and it's got skull blocks in it here too. Huh. What a coincidence, and I didn't even know that. So yeah, Josh really, you know, I'm surprised I haven't mentioned Josh until now. But he should get, you know, all the credit for this, most of the credit for version 1.3, because he fixed up a lot of things. He fixed up like I said, he fixed up all the transparent blocks and walls in the cave level. He also, like I said, he fixed up the overscan colors there. He also cleaned up the title screen for me because it, see, I couldn't work out, one of the things I could never work out was how to edit the title screen. It had this, the editor's got this thing where it's got a name change table, where it's got like things you can pick out if you want to change some of the letters and stuff, but there wasn't really a way you could change the numbers or the year and that. So I couldn't work out how to change it from 1986 to 2021. And so I did it I sort of cheated by putting letters upside down. So it was really an S, but I made it look like a 2, and I put 2021. Even though there weren't really letters, it just looked like letters. Because I honestly, I could not work it out. You might think I'm stupid, but I still don't know what Josh did to fix that title screen. So, you know, I thank him so much for that. And, yeah, did Josh do anything else? He fixed the overscan border colours, he fixed the transparent walls, he fixed up the title screen. What was the fourth thing he did? He did something else. I don't know, it slipped my mind. I honestly can't think of it, but he's responsible for making it play better, basically. You know, I've only done 2 more edits in this version 1.3. I'm just going to say, you know, even though there's a pool of water there, you have to be very, very careful not to land in that pool of water. I did think of removing that, but I thought, well, I'll just leave it, because you have to be really, really stupid to go in there. And don't try and stand behind the body when the head comes off. You got to stand over here, like the way I defeated it. Don't go behind and jump over that pond, because once you land in that pond, you've wrecked the game. You're going to have to reset. You have to be really stupid if you land in there. Now, this is a really challenging level, this one. So, yeah, so Josh is the one who gets most of the credit for this version 1.3, for cleaning it up and making it play better. I made 2 edits. I think one of the edits was in the first stage, you know, Mount Eternal, the really long one. There was this area I originally had where when you're just about to land into the water, you'd come to this section where it was like a ledge, but it had 2 ghost blocks on it. It had a few breakable blocks in it, and there was a monster bird flying by, and it was just underneath a cliff pond. You know, one of the cliff ponds that I put. And I was getting lots of complaints. I was getting a few complaints. when I first released the hack, because people were saying that they were hitting the monster bird and the game was respawning them in that pond of water and there was no way to get out. So then I thought, okay, I'll put ladders there. I'll put some rocky mountain ladders there. So if it does respawn you there, you have a way of getting out. But that didn't really work for too long, because it sort of works, but it doesn't work as well as I wanted it to, because somebody pointed out that even though there's ladders there, you still can't get out if the screen has scrolled too low. Which is true. If the screen scrolls too low, you can't get out. You can't even reach the ladder in some cases. So I thought, well, I thought to myself, oh, you know, I'm just going to leave it, and you know, and just warn people that, you know, try not to let that happen. If it happens, well, you know, it's only in the first stage. It's not an immediate crash or anything like that. It's just something you have to avoid doing. So, but in this version 1.3, I removed it. And I removed the 2 ghost blocks, and I removed the monster bird, so you have no way of dying there. So it won't respawn you in the pond. So that was the first edit. The second edit was in the Janken Castle. I had this room, I'll get to it soon, where it was, I had spikes on the floor. You fall from the ceiling. There's a bit right at the start, you know, when you fall from the ceiling. And there was this, I had spikes on the floor on the left side of the room, and I had spikes on the right side of the floor on the room. But as you're falling down, if you're falling from a fall and you happen to land on the spikes, either on the left or the right, the game would keep respawning you every time you lost a life from falling from the ceiling onto the spikes again, and you didn't have enough time to maneuver out of the way. That was a last minute edit. I had to remove those spikes. I thought, no, that's a dick move. That's not fair to the player. It's just going to just drain all your lives till you die. And that's not fair. So I removed that. They're the only 2 edits I've made, and there's actually a 3rd edit. The only 3rd edit was I gave Josh more credit in the ending text at the end of the game for everything that he did for cleaning up this ROM hack for me. As deserved. You know, he deserves most of the credit for this final version. He just did it. That's right, that was the other thing he did, the checksum. I'm glad I thought of it. I honestly didn't know, guys, that you had to fix the checksum. Or you don't have to fix the checksum for Master System ROMs, but I read once that it wasn't a required process. But Josh pointed out to me that if you're trying to run a ROM hack on an original Sega Master System or a Master System Model 2 that's got the BIOS, you know, the Sega logo, startup, he said, sometimes they don't work. Sometimes, yeah, need the ring here. Yeah, so he fixed the checksum up for me. And, you know, it's actually scared me a bit. I thought, oh, I don't want the game to not start on an original system, you know. But I think that problem only happens if it's on a single cartridge, like a reproduction card. Just for example, if this ever came out on a reproduction card, this hack, and the checksum wasn't fixed, chances are the original Master System or Master System Model 2 wouldn't run the game because the checksum's not correct. So I'm glad he pointed that out to me, because I didn't know about that. So he fixed the checksum for me, all the overscan borders, the transparent blocks and walls, and he cleaned up the title screen. So yeah, thank you, Josh. It's all thanks to you, mate. And if it wasn't for Josh, this final version wouldn't have come out. It still would have sat at 1.1. Now this section here, I just want to point out to you guys, there is a transparent wall here, see? But you're supposed to discover it on your own, but if you do decide to go this way, you're going to get chased by that ghost, and you can't just go up the ladder. See? The ladder stops you. It's a different kind of ladder. You can land on the top of it, but that's it. You have to just use it as a stepping stone. I'm not going to bother with all the puzzles here. So I made a full platforming level out of this one. Yeah, so if it wasn't for Josh, this version wouldn't have come out, really, because it was Josh's renewed interest that, you know, brought out a better version. I made this level long too. I wanted to make this one really long. And if you're lucky enough, you can get pretty much right to the end with the car. There is a way. I did it once, but it's very hard. You got to land in the right spots. Chances are you're just going to make it halfway through if you have a good run, and then you're gonna lose the car, you know, and you have to do the rest of it on foot. I find the best thing to do is to stay on the top here. The higher you are, the better your chances getting through it with the car. Ah, see. Once I made it past all this with the car, and I was like, wow. Oh, I want that. I can't get it. I couldn't get it in time. For this level, you're best to use the ring. Once you lose the car, get the ring out, because you've got monkeys to deal with. See? And I'm not going to bother with those question mark blocks. There's lots of monkeys, so it's best you use the ring now, because they start chucking things at you and sometimes there's more than one. Bastards. Funny thing about the monkeys, you know, in the woods level there, the black woods, I was trying to change the colour of whatever it is they're throwing at you. I don't know if it's leaves or is it poo? I tried to change it to a brown colour so it would be poo. So they'd be slinging poo at you, you know, feces. But I couldn't get the colour right, because if I changed the colour, because the game's got a limited color palette, you know, it can only display, what is it, 32 colors out of a palette of 64 or something. For some levels, because the game's got a very limited color palette, I couldn't change the... Look at this, when I jump up, if I'm out of the screen, he throws it to the bottom. I couldn't change the colour because it would stuff something else up. It would change Alex's clothes, the colour of what he's wearing, or... And when I found out about that, I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? I've got to try and fix it. So I tried fixing it. I managed to fix up the colour of Alex's, you know, jumpsuit. But it stuffed up, I think, some of the colours for the bear. But it worked out in the end. I got around it. So the colour ended up being purple. So whatever they're throwing at you, it's purple in the Black Woods level. But in this one and all the others, I think it's just green. Yeah, because I inserted an extra Janken match, the original order of fixed order is all changed now. I think it's all just paper. You just got to keep doing paper now. Very easy, even easier than before. I think it was originally rock and scissors, but because I inserted an extra match with Gusika in that Petticopter level, it's changes the order for the rest of them. So I had to work out too what they were. But apparently it's just paper for this one and the Janken. Now this is another tricky boss where he takes his head off. You can't attack him like this. If I went to punch him there, he would have got me. I'll show you. See? Do not do that. I'll tell you where to stand. What you got to do is stand behind him, or stand. Actually, no, you can't stand behind him because of the swamp quicksand thing there. Stand right in front of where he's going to drop his head and punch him. And you hear that conk. There you go. Because you can't get behind the body, and you can't get on the other side. So yeah. And we're up to the Jenkins Castle. I inserted a new room here. See that ladder? That ladder is not there in the original. So I did make a few little changes here. So I made a new room here. I'll show you the new edits. You have to be very careful because I did put some spikes here. Look at all those lives. I'll show you the trick to getting those lives. You can see I'm surrounded by ghost blocks. What you got to do is rush straight to that ladder without touching any of those lives. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah, I done it. See? Now you can get the lives. Because if I would have touched one of those lives and then exited the room and come back, the lives wouldn't come back again. So now I can pick up everything, and I end up here again. I'm on the outside. Now this is the room I was telling you about before, about those spikes. See here, I had all spikes here. And if you didn't land right in the center here, it would just keep respawning you from the ceiling, and you'd just keep dropping on the spikes. I thought, I can't have that. That's not fair to the player, because you don't know what's coming. So guys, I did remove some dick moves for you. Everybody keeps asking me, where did you get this? Where did you get this track from? Where'd you get this track from? I ported it from another ROM hack, from Redaxian Rumble. That's where I first heard it from. I just ported it using the editor. I thought, I like it, I'm going to use it. And that's what I did. But I didn't know what it was. To me, this sounds like something from Lady Gaga. From her Born This Way album, or the one she made after that, when she went really raunchy, you know, and was posing nude on all her covers of her albums and stuff. It just sounds like something from that era, but with Metallic Madness mixed in from Sonic CD. It's weird. But then somebody just told me the other day it's from Mega Man 2. It's from Dr. Wily's stage or something, and I'm like, oh, is that where it's from? Well, I didn't even know, and I ported it. I just like the sound of it. I like how it's using that sawtooth wave bass. You know, it's something you don't hear that often, and it's used in a really good way. I don't know who the person is that did this music track. I know it's not Matt Furness. If I knew who it was, I would have credited them in the credits, but I didn't know. Yeah, I would love to know, why does everybody have to port music from, or recreate music from the Mega Man games? Why is the Mega Man games so popular when it comes to music? I mean, I'm not a big fan of Mega Man, the original ones or the later ones, or it's an NES thing. I never grew up with an NES, so it naturally doesn't mean much to me. It's a Capcom NES thing. And the Americans just go crazy for it. For Mega Man, it means nothing to me. I don't even know. I'm not familiar with the Mega Man songs. I'd rather something like Lemmings or Sonic, or that's the stuff I grew up on. That's why I used a lot of Lemming songs in this hack, because I liked it. So I'm not a big fan of the puzzle element of this game. Like Redaxian Rumble, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, it was full of you know, puzzles. You know, I guess it's alright if you're accustomed to that sort of thing, but I'm not. I don't like it. I just find it, you know, it's just dick move hard. You gotta step on a block to get to another block. You gotta punch a special puzzle block, and then it'll bring out some platform, and you have to hurry before a ghost chases you and all this stuff. I'm not. That's why I didn't put many puzzle elements. I didn't want to. I just wanted to do basic level layouts. The idea of this hack is just to make it longer. It's not a visual eye-popping hack, you know. It's not like, it's not going to wow you over in graphics like, say, Alice Kid 3 or something like that, and go, oh wow, you know. It's simple. I just wanted to make the levels longer to give the player a more fulfilling experience, because the original game is quite short. It's only on a little tiny 128k ROM. So I thought I'll make the levels longer, like I was saying earlier. So that's what I did. I can't get it. So yeah, if you're a fan of the original and you like what I've done here, well, give it a go, guys. It's, what can I say? You know, it's a more fulfilling game. You'll give you a, you know, well, I'm already It takes me over an hour to finish it. But I'm playing it in PAL. I suppose if you were speed running it, you could probably finish it in 45 minutes, give or take. That's another thing I could have edited too. I could have changed the matches, you know, like the fixed match. I could have changed it so it's not like rock and scissors and scissors paper and then rock and scissors and in that order and then paper paper. I didn't want to fiddle with that. I thought I'll just leave that alone because I'm not too familiar with that in the editor, so I just left that alone. God, is that an easy boss or what? He just stands there and you just keep punching him in the head. Shall I do something naughty? I might give him another go. What do you think? Alright, Jankin, I gave you another go. Now this time, it'll be different. I can't do paper paper. What I like to do is leave it on paper paper, and because I can read his thoughts with the telepathic ball, I've got to watch. If he does scissors right at the last minute, I've got to move it to rock. Okay, a tie's okay. I'm happy with the tie. I don't care if he does the same thing, as long as he doesn't do scissors. I'm gonna get you, you bastard. I've only got to win one more. Let's see if I can get him again. Got him. There you go, Jankin. I gave you two tries to get me, and you still failed. Don't have to get the ball. I've already got it. You could keep doing that if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. And it's different every time. We keep messing around with him, but you got to be careful. If you're not quick enough with those, you know, hand signs, well, then you're going to be killed. Yeah, I made a few little changes here. I just changed this part a little bit. I like the little tunnel things here where you gotta swim through. And you gotta be quick with that toad, because once he goes down... Oh, I got him, good. Otherwise he blows bubbles at you. I got a thing about water, so I put water underneath there. I thought that looks a bit nicer. Did the fishies swimming. I like this last bit, it's like an Indiana Jones movie. Yeah, I know it off by heart, it's so easy. Jump the spikes and we're done. Yeah. And then we have the end, guys. I kept the text and the ending exactly the same as the original. I just sort of realigned the text So you'll see the credits now. In my opinion, this is not a hard game. If you think this is hard, you really need to practice, because it ain't hard. There's all the credits. Because I used a few level layouts from Ali Anger's Redian Rumble, and I think the counterfeit edition, there's a counterfeit edition of that game too. Someone actually may have put it on a reproduction cart in South America. I pinched some of the level layouts from that one too and carefully blended them in with my own. But I thought, no, I'm still going to credit him, just in case it ever gets picked up. Just thought you'd want to know why that name is there. If I use something from somebody else, I will credit them. That's it, guys. Game over. I hope you enjoyed this video. So now you know the making of this game. So yeah, I can't promote it or advertise it any more than what I've just done here. You know, I've done a full playthrough already. I've played the game on an original Sega Master System, and I've done this. I've just completed this playthrough with commentary by myself. So that's all it is. You know, I can't. I'd love to put it. You know, I'd love for the game to be a lot more popular than what it is, but it is what it is. You know, I'm only a small channel. I'm only a small person. You know, Alex Kidd is not what a lot of people are into, and I fully understand that. It's different for everybody. But like I said in the beginning, it's not something. I didn't wake up one morning and just say, think to myself, I'm going to hack Alex Kidd in Merkel today. It was a chain of events that led to it. You know, like it started with the Nostalgia Nerd video in the beginning. You know, where he said, you know, he was having trouble with Alex Kidd in Miracle World 2, the fan game from 2016. And he said one of the ways that he would get through the game was, you know, he would download the editor and increase the life count, which you can easily do if you know what to do. You know, I don't mind people doing that to my ROM hack. I just don't want you to leak a ROM like that, you know, because that will upset me. Because this is already a very forgiving hack. You know, you start out with the default 3 lives, but if you've got 1,000 in cash, it'll let you continue as much as you like. You know, as long as you have 1,000, you know, in money, you can keep continuing. It's not like the original game where, you know, you had to, it was just game over, or there was a secret hidden cheat, but it was very hard to do. It's a very forgiving ROM hack. I know I put some challenging level layouts in there, but the trade-off is, you know, you don't get an instant game over. You can keep playing it and playing it. So, yeah, that's just something I wanted to point out. So, it was just a chain of events. It started with the Nostalgia Nerd video, and then I started playing Redian Rumble. And then I had trouble with that, and I started to download the editor for myself, and I did what Nostalgia Nerd said, and it worked. And then I started fiddling with that, and then by the time, you know, I butchered that hack so much, and then it got to a point where I thought, hey, I'm going to start again. I can make my own ROM hack now. And that's what I did. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Big thanks to Josh. You know, I'm so happy that, you know, Josh fixed up and did all the things he did. He taught me how to use the checksum. That little app gave me so much trouble. You know, it displays for a split second, and I didn't know why it was doing that. I thought you had to open it first and then, you know, open it up and put the ROM to it to fix the checksum, but all you had to do was to drag your required ROM or your ROM hack over to the app and it would automatically fix it. But I didn't know that. Oh well, I know now. So that's it. Alright guys, I'll catch you later. Bye now.